Gotta dress for the occasion. So today marks the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future, and just by chance I actually rewatched the film 2 days ago, not knowing that the anniversary was coming up. It's almost like it was meant to be. And since the film is still fresh in my mind, and it is the 35th anniversary of the film's release today, I guess there is no better time than today to finally talk about one of my favourite films of all time. Back to the Future, simply put, is one of the great premises of cinema. When I think of the best plots, the best story ideas ever conceived for a film, this is one of the top 3 that instantly comes to mind. A 17-year-old kid in 1985 accidentally travels back in time to 1955 and accidentally prevents his parents from first meeting, which then puts his existence at risk because if his parents don't meet, he doesn't exist and he doesn't get born. So he has to figure out a way to get his parents together in 1955 to prevent him from being erased from existence. And at the same time, he's got to figure out how to get back to the future with Doc Brown, the younger version of his mentor from the present day, and figure out how to get the 1.21 gigawatts into the DeLorean, lightning striking the clock tower. I mean, come on. The premise just reeks of brilliance, cleverness, intelligence, and the execution is even better. They do such a brilliant job at setting up the information that you need to know and the stuff that you're going to see when Marty travels back to 1955, when you have Lorraine telling the story about how she met George. You know, Grandpa hit him with the car, and the enchantment under the sea dance. And then when Marty goes back to 1955, you start seeing it and you start connecting the dots. Whenever a film can give you exposition and not make it feel too much like exposition, like you're just being force-fed information, it's always a great win. And it's especially good because you see the things the characters are talking about. When Marty goes back to 1955, all the stuff they talk about, you see. All the character traits that they talk about from back in the day, you see. And you kind of living it vicariously through Marty McFly in a way. And you really latch on to Marty McFly as well. He's the typical everyday kind of character, you know. He's a kid who has hopes and dreams. He wants to be a rock star. He's got his girlfriend, but his family life's a bit miserable at home. So when he goes back to 1955, you're rooting for him to both save his own existence, but also improve his own existence. And the chemistry between Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, what more can be said? It's just one of the most iconic duos in the history of films. Gotta talk about the first time travel scene when Doc Brown unveils the time machine at Twin Pines Mall. This scene is just, again, iconic, but it's also extremely interesting, and it's also kind of going back to the exposition stuff, because Doc Brown is explaining how the time machine works, and he breaks it down in such a simple and accessible way, but not so much so to the point where it's treating the audience like idiots. In fact, it's Doc Brown explaining how it works to a 17-year-old high school student, so it's just brilliant how they write it that way, and that's just another testament to the genius that is Back to the Future. So the film goes on, and Marty's trying to get George and Lorraine together. Lorraine's got the hots for him, which is another piece of brilliance of the film, where his own mother falls in love with him, and the awkward exchanges between Lorraine and Marty are just so well played by the actors, so well written by the writers, so well directed by the director. And that storyline culminates at the enchantment under the sea dance, where George McFly knocks out Biff, gets Lorraine. Tell me that that is not the most satisfying standing up to the bully scene ever in the history of films. And I'm not gonna lie, watching it this time, my heart was actually kind of pounding when, you know, George McFly's got his arm twisted by Biff and Lorraine's like, leave him alone, and then you just see the fist clamping up, and then boom, and Biff just on the floor, and you're just like, oh, it's just one of the most satisfying moments in the history of films. Then they get to the dance scene, Marty's starting to fade away, George shoves that guy who nicks Lorraine off him, and this moment right here, when George McFly kisses Lorraine, and Marty all of a sudden pops back up and starts playing the guitar, looks at the picture, sees him and his siblings come back into view, back into existence, and Earth Angel is swelling up in the background, that particular moment right there is one of my all-time favourite moments in the history of films. I would say that's a top 10 film moment for me because it just gives me goosebumps every single time. And then that's followed by another piece of amazing awesomeness with the Johnny B. Good segment. And then of course the big finale of the film when Marty is driving the DeLorean to the clock tower, the lightning's about to strike, Doc Brown struggling to connect the cables, he's swinging down, the music's swelling up, da 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 da, problems are happening, it's really intense even though you know what's going to happen because you've seen the film 1,000 times, it's still awesome because of how well done it is. Goes back in time, the fire's going, Doc Brown's all dancing in the flames. This film is just full of amazing, iconic amazingness. And it's not just amazing because it's iconic, it is amazing because it's amazing. And it's iconic because it's amazing. I remember as a kid, Back to the Future 1 was my least favourite of the Back to the Future trilogy. Maybe it's because 2 and 3 felt like they had more of a sense of adventure than this one did. But this rewatch of Back to the Future 1 has confirmed to me that no, Back to the Future 1 is the best of the trilogy. Still really like 2 and 3, but it's Back to the Future 1. This is the one that obviously started it all, and it's just, again, one of the greatest premises ever thought of for a film, one of the greatest duos in cinema history with Marty and Doc, and just some of the greatest execution that I've ever seen in a film as well. And after this rewatch, I don't have a top 10 favourite films list, I just have a couple of films that I know would be there. I think Back to the Future might be a top 10 favourite film for me after rewatching it. And Back to the Future, of course, absolutely gets a 5 out of 5. Thanks very much for watching as always, guys. Let me know your thoughts and your history and your experiences with Back to the Future down below. And if you want to see more of my stuff, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.